Simple and plain. To be the best, you have to win. That's why I play the game.
Hey guys, welcome back to Lakers Exclusive, where we talk exclusively about Lakers basketball. In our last video, we had a look at the most realistic point guard options for the Lakers moving forward, and it was a good chat whether or not we look within our organization or go out, on the market and just assess what options at the point guard position there are at the moment. So we're going to continue this series moving forward in this video and have a look at the most realistic shooting guard options. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, be sure to do that now if you are liking the content. And without further ado, let's get right into it. And first and foremost, I want to talk about a player who's been tied to the Lakers for a number of seasons now and also has ties to the city itself, and that's DeMar DeRozan. Now, when I think about a player in DeMar DeRozan, I think an elite scorer, an elite dunker, and an underrated defender, and someone who's really good within that mid-range. He's one of those players who sort of hasn't, moved with the league itself. He's sort of, stuck to his guns, and he's really been effective in that mid-range throughout his whole career, and he's a player that's sort of stuck there and hasn't really developed at the three-point line. I think he shot about 28% from the three-point line over the course of his career, and that's fine, but in today's NBA, you sort of want a player who can really, shoot lights out from the three-point line at the shooting guard position, and that's not to say that it won't work, but in terms of what the Lakers need, I'd prefer the Lakers to go after someone who can really knock it down from the three-point line. In saying that, any time that you get DeMar DeRozan as your third best player, I think, that's good enough to win a championship. But if we were to bring in DeMar DeRozan and put him next to LeBron James and AD, that means the rest of our starting lineup pretty much needs to be knockdown three-point shooters in order for it to work. Otherwise, we're just not going to be able to score and space the floor if we have, three players already that are decent three-point shooters, but not knockdown three-point shooters. You're going to have to really space the floor in order for it to work, and that's what I see moving forward if we get DeMar DeRozan. Another player that's been heavily rumored and apparently is at the top of the list as the Lakers' targets for this season is CJ McCullum from the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, in a perfect world, as I said in our last video, I want to see some Dame time in LA, but in reality, it's probably not going to happen. But if we could get his teammate in CJ McCollum, who's a three-level scorer, is great in the mid-range, is great at the three-point line, is just a great scorer all around, who's a combo guard who can play make a little bit, that's definitely something that I want to see, and it's just a perfect fit alongside, our two superstars. The next player I want to talk about is a player who I've wanted on the Lakers for a number of seasons now, and that's Buddy Hield, an elite three-point shooter and one of the best three-point shooters in the league. Over the course of his career, shot about 40% from the three-point line, which is absolutely amazing. And what, out of everything, do the Lakers need this season? And that's shooting, as we've spoken about a number of times. And Buddy Hield is just a flat-out scorer. And the fact that he shoots at a high volume as well, he's not a player that goes out and takes 5 shots. He'll go out and take 10 shots a game, and that's something that, we want someone that when LeBron throws the ball to, he's going to shoot no matter what. And that's something that LeBron James really relies on. You see him yell at shooters all the time just to shoot the ball and have that belief. And Buddy Hield has that belief. And overall, he's one of the best, shooting guards out there. And it's rumored that the Sacramento Kings also like Kyle Kuzma as well. They've been looking at him for a number of years. There's been talks over the past couple of years that they wanted to swap Kyle Kuzma with Bogdanovic. Obviously, Bogdanovic has now moved on to Atlanta. But, there is some interest there for the Sacramento Kings in Kyle Kuzma. So if we can maybe package him and a KCP with a pick or something and get Buddy Hield, we're sitting good. And I think, that's going to be one of the major targets at the shooting guard position for the Lakers moving forward. The next player I want to talk about is a player that's been in the league for a number of years now, and that's JJ Redick. Again, a knockdown three-point shooter who turns up in clutch moments and can really knock it down at a high clip. He obviously struggles on the defensive end, quite a bit just because of his size. But, maybe he could come off the bench or even start for us. It just depends on, what the rest of the league see in JJ Redick. How much, money teams want to invest in him moving forward, because he is coming towards the end of the career. But anytime you get, JJ Redick on your team, he has that experience, he has that clutch gene, and he's reliable, and that's what you want in a shooting guard. And that's what we lacked last year. Players didn't step up when we needed them to. But in a player in JJ Redick, we can always rely on him to step up in those moments. There's also players out there like Tim Hardaway Jr., who had a great I thought, playoff series with the Mavs. A knockdown shooter, underrated defender, and just a player, again, you can throw the ball to and just trust that he can knock down shots. But I think in reality, I think the Mavs really like what they saw last year, and I think you'll see the Mavs re-sign him. But if we can get maybe Tim Hardaway Jr., who wants to change the scenery on the Lakers, by all means, come and join the purple and gold, because we'll happily have you. I also want to talk about a player who's sort of flying under the radar in this free agency, and a player who we're also very familiar with, and that's Danny Green. Someone who we actually really missed this season, who many, believe was done with the Lakers. We didn't need him anymore. He can't shoot. He then goes to Philly and has an outstanding season, even though he was injured throughout the playoffs. But, anytime you get a veteran player who can defend at a high level and shoot at a high level like Danny Green, any team in the league would be happy to have him. And I think if we bring Danny Green back on the Lakers, Laker fans will be happy, even though it was only last year. Everyone was saying that we wanted to get rid of him. It just depends, again, on the market, what other teams see in Danny Green, what other teams name. But I think if we have a chance at Danny Green on a suitable contract for our team, I'll definitely think the Lakers wouldn't bring him back in that sense. We've also already got some shooting guards on our team who are very reliable, in KCP, who's been a very underrated player in our system over the past couple of years. I know a lot of Laker fans tend to jump on his back when he's not shooting well, but that's what shooters do. Sometimes they go in a shooting slump. Other times they'll come out and shoot lights out. But he was a vital part in that championship run. There was a couple of games in the finals there where KCP really stepped up and made some shots at some really important times in the finals. And I think LeBron really has that trust in him. He's developed a relationship with LeBron and AD, and it just works. And he's a great defender as well, a really underrated defender. And I think, if we were to part ways with KCP, it might hurt us in the end. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether we keep KCP or we look to moving on for maybe a better option. But we'll find out, I guess, this coming off season. We also have some other shooting guards that we could possibly bring back next season. Wesley Matthews and Mclemore, who are vet minimum contract players. Obviously, Wesley Matthews didn't have the best season with the Lakers, and sometimes coach didn't even play him. But what he can do is come on and provide some good defense and shoot the ball well. He obviously didn't have the best shooting performance in the Lakers, and it's just something about shooters when they join the Lakers. They just, shoot under their career percentage, but that's something that we'll have to look at. And on a vet minimum contract, anytime you can get a player like Wesley Matthews with experience and playoff experience, the Lakers are going to want to bring him back. We also have Mclemore, who's obviously not a great defender. He really struggles on the defensive end at times, but what he can do is come on and shoot lights out. He'll shoot 1-3 and then go on a run where he just knocks them, another 6 down in a row. And that's something that we need, as we keep talking about. These shooters that the Lakers don't have, that's something that we really need to go after. Just these shooters, if there's something that we need, it's definitely shooters. And Mclemore is one of the best, outright shooters on a vet minimum contract that we can bring into the Lakers. There's also a number of other players that I expect the Lakers to go and look at that they can bring in on a vet minimum contract. Players like Wayne Ellington, Kent Bazemore, Bryn Forbes, cats like that can just come in and shoot the ball at a high clip. But that's going to do it for this video, and they're the most realistic shooting guard options I think the Lakers can, have a look at moving forward. I could say, bring in Zach LaVine or Bradley Beal, but realistically, I just don't see how the Lakers can go out and get him. But that's going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you are liking the content, please subscribe and like our videos moving forward, as it really helps us out. But it's been your boy Jay from Lakers Exclusive. We'll catch you guys on the next one.